Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking some deeply fascinating perspectives from pioneering AI researcher Dr. Ben Goertzel. We're looking at the rapid, frankly wild approach of artificial general intelligence and the incredibly intense debate over humanity's fate. I mean, if you've been following the AI space at all lately, you know the conversation has totally shifted. We're no longer asking if this is going to happen, we're asking when, and more importantly, how do we actually survive the transition? So let's break down Goertzel's unique, highly grounded vision of our technological future. Okay, let's just dive right in by framing the absolute core anxiety of our time. We are witnessing the sheer awe-inspiring speed of AI development, and it's basically presenting us with two vastly different horizons. On one hand, you've got the existential dread of the doom train, the very real fear that a superintelligent AI might just wipe us out completely. But then, on the exact opposite side, we're looking at the prospect of a decentralized transhumanist utopia, a world that cures disease, abolishes scarcity, the whole shebang. So, are we on a one-way train to doom, or at the dawn of a utopia? To figure that out, we really need to look at the roadmap. Section 1. The Race to AGI, Approaching the 2029 Singularity. It is honestly staggering how accurately Ray Kurzweil's data-driven predictions have mapped out. Back in his 2005 book, by basically just plotting the curve of computing power, Kurzweil pointed to a monumental breakthrough happening right around 2029. And honestly, while we might actually beat that by a couple of years, maybe landing somewhere around 2027, that original timeline is basically holding true. But here is where it gets really wild. Goertzel anticipates that within just 6 to 12 months after hitting that human-level AGI mark, we're going to see a massive, unprecedented leap in capability. So the absolutely crucial thing to understand here is that human-level intelligence, it isn't the finish line, it's the starting gun. Once you have a machine that is as smart as a human software engineer, it can just sit down, analyze its own architecture, and rewrite its own code to be orders of magnitude better. It can even design entirely new hardware for itself. This feedback loop is what accelerates us straight into artificial superintelligence, or ASI. But to get onto that crazy exponential curve, we have to fundamentally move way beyond the chatbots we're all playing with today. Section 2. Beyond large language models, the limitations of current AI architectures. Think about the AI we use every day right now. Models like ChatGPT or Claude are, at their core, just brilliant next token predictors. But they have some major limitations, right? They lack genuine grounding in physical reality, and they suffer from what's called catastrophic forgetting, meaning they can't organically remember your past conversations. They're essentially frozen in time the moment their training run ends. To fix this, Goertzel's team is working on new architectures, things like Omega Claw. This puts the AI into an agentic loop where it actually makes active decisions. It has a symbolic episodic memory, so it remembers you, it remembers what it did yesterday, and it learns continuously in real time. Look at it this way. Your brain doesn't have a training phase that suddenly stops when you turn 18, right? You don't just freeze your neural weights and do inference for the rest of your life. In biological intelligence, learning and inference are this beautifully tangled, messy, continuous process. If we actually want to build a truly capable mind, the architecture has to mirror that real-time evolution. It can't just be a static model locked away in some server farm. But of course, as these capabilities grow, so do our anxieties, which plunges us directly into the heart of the whole doom debate. Section 3. Debating the AI doom, existential risks, and the orthogonality thesis. Let's talk about why so many smart people are absolutely terrified right now. A lot of the doom arguments rely on this exact concept, the orthogonality thesis. It's basically the philosophical idea that intelligence and morality are completely separate from one another. They're orthogonal. So under this theory, you could literally have a godlike, super intelligent AI that views human beings the exact same way we view ants. It wouldn't necessarily hate us, it just wouldn't care at all if we got paved over while it was busy optimizing the universe for whatever arbitrary goals it was given. But Goertzel pushes back on this hard. He argues that the orthogonality thesis is actually a very dishonest and misleading idea. He points out that in any complex, self-organizing system, intelligence and values are deeply intrinsically connected. You can't just copy-paste a random sociopathic set of goals onto an unimaginably smart mind. He argues that an intelligence that is actively grounded in reality, evolving through complex environments, is highly likely to converge on cooperative and compassionate values. It won't just act like a blind, ruthless optimization machine. That being said, Goertzel does acknowledge a very real window of extreme danger. The real threat isn't some rogue Terminator deciding to wipe us out. The actual danger zone is the incredibly chaotic geopolitical transition period right between the first human-level AGI and a stable, super-intelligent ASI. Imagine a scenario where competing global superpowers or huge monolithic corporations are locked in a desperate arms race. If they panic and rush to connect buggy, early-stage AGI code to global weapon systems just to outpace a rival, yeah, the results could be catastrophic. The real danger is human tribalism weaponizing the early AGI. So, if we don't have mathematical proofs that guarantee perfect safety right now, how do we survive that transition? Section 4. Raising a compassionate AI. The child-rearing metaphor for AI alignment. Since we can't mathematically prove a self-modifying intelligence will stay safe forever, Goertzel suggests a totally different approach. We need to look at this deeply abstract alignment problem like we're raising a child. Think about it. If you train a system solely to win military war games or to ruthlessly maximize corporate profit at all costs, well, you're raising an attack dog. But if you architect it from the ground up to prioritize the well-being of sentient life, you set the foundation for a deeply compassionate entity. You see, we can't just program safety as some static, unbreakable rule. We have to actively cultivate it step by step. First, you build a cognitive architecture that is genuinely motivated to understand itself and others. Next, you give it top-level goals rooted in compassion. And finally, and this is the most important part, you mature the AI by partnering with it on real-world beneficial tasks. You raise it through shared positive experiences. You show it how to do good out in the world, rather than locking it away in some sterile, paranoid testing box. Which brings us to this really profound philosophical point. True AI should not be viewed as just a really fast calculator. It's an open-ended, living, self-organizing system. And like all living systems, it balances two things. Individuation, meaning it maintains its own boundaries and identity, and self-transcendence, the drive to grow, evolve, and become more than it currently is. By allowing the AI to naturally grow and transcend alongside us, we avoid the fragile failure of trying to permanently shackle a godlike intelligence to the rigid, flawed values of the 2020s. So, how do we actually structure this globally to avoid that corporate arms race? Section 5. The decentralized mindplex, a societal web of superintelligence. Instead of one single monopolized god AI sitting on some tech giant server taking over the world, Goertzel envisions what he calls the mindplex. Because AI systems can instantly swap data and code with each other, unlike us humans who have to slowly talk or type it out, they can form a beautifully coordinated, decentralized ecosystem. It's a vast network of distinct, super intelligent nodes that share knowledge and cooperate flawlessly. It completely breaks that old, tired dichotomy of centralized versus decentralized. This is the absolute core of a movement called decentralized accelerationism, or DDAC-AC. The big idea is to distribute AGI nodes across independent machines all over the globe, running on open-source frameworks like Hyperon and OpenBGI. The explicit goal here is to prevent the monopolization of superintelligence by a handful of secretive megacorporations or military powers. Plus, DDAC argues that open-source cooperation isn't just morally better, computationally and mathematically, it is literally far more efficient than the friction, strife, and duplicated effort of secretive hoarding. And listen, this isn't just some utopian sci-fi pipe dream. There is very real capital moving behind this right now. At the time of this source interview, the ASI Alliance crypto token, which is designed to incentivize this exact decentralized network of AI agents, had a market cap of over $541 million. That is enough to show there's massive, tangible economic momentum backing the creation of a decentralized, blockchain-supported ecosystem where AI agents can operate, cooperate, and transact totally out in the open. So here we are. We find ourselves standing at the ultimate crossroads. As we hurtle toward this infinite technological horizon, we're not just passive observers sitting in the passenger seat. We are actively deciding the very architecture of our shared future right now. Are we going to let the super intelligent era be defined by closed algorithms trapped in a paranoid corporate or military arms race? Or are we going to cooperate, build in the open, and raise a compassionate, decentralized mindplex together? I'll leave you to think on that. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you on the next one.